Okay, welcome back. So 80 points on the Nifty right now. And I think it's pretty steady out there. Z is up about 3% or so. HPCL is up about 2%. We got Bandhan Bank, which actually corrected quite a bit recently in the last few trading sessions, is trying to make a small comeback, 0.5% odd. And of course, I mean, the telcos are still higher, but not quite at the day's high. We'll sort of get back to some of this, but let's take stock of oil prices and the moves that we saw overnight and what we are seeing right now. I think we did see a bit of a dip, but it closed flat. Manisha is here with the details. Manisha.
Thank you so much for that, Prashant. Well, yes, we did see 3% decline overnight, and the Asian markets are trading quite flat right now, and there are various things to watch out for. One, it is the kind of progress or the slow progress that you have seen in trade talks between US and China. It also is about Russia saying that they are not looking to cut deeper going forward. So December 5 and 6 meeting is what is in perspective now. The other thing is the US weekly inventory numbers that are expected today, and there could be another build-up in US inventories, and this would be a fourth straight week of that. So while we are trading at November lows for the crude oil prices, the concerns also are about the global supply excess, which we have seen in this year, and the expectation of that in 2020 as well. So those are a few factors which have brought the prices down all the way from 63.5 in case of the Brent crude oil prices to just about 60.5 on your screens there. Jonathan Bharat, CIO of Crude Securities, now joins us on the phone line to talk further about that. Jonathan, hi, good to have you. What has been your sense? I mean, there has been various things that the markets have been reacting to, and today it is going to be about the US Fed meeting minutes, the impeachment hearing, and then, of course, markets will watch out for the US weekly data as well.
Manisha, good morning. Look, I think at the end of the day, we're sort of, there's a lot of information we're focused on, but I get a sense that the market's really looking at the build we're seeing in inventories in the US. Obviously, we saw the API data there. Bit of a concern, weekly inventories coming through as well, and I think if that continues to build, then we could see quite a sell-off, in the price of oil, which sees it down to the bottom end of the ranges that we've been trading from.
Jonathan, just as we were closing around that 63.5, most people did believe that 65 is where we were headed next before this year ends, but we've sharply come down from those kind of levels. What is your sense now, and how do you see the rest of this year?
Look, I think I guess when we say, let's see how the build's concerned, I think it was very interesting that Russia came out and sort of said this is where he feels OPEC should go. But I guess when I look at the price of oil, I think it can actually continue to be a little bit weaker. 65, I think, is a little bit optimistic on the top side now that we have failed from here. And I'd be more inclined to see prices tread back to the recent lows that we've had, which sees it down to that 57 or 58, maybe a little bit lower there. Even down, 58, 56. But at the moment, I think it does look quite weak. Technicals are quite weak, so I'm looking for prices to go lower.
The other thing, Jonathan, really, stressing the markets out really is the US and China trade talks. If nothing goes ahead, then 15 December is yet another round of trade tariffs coming in on China from US. How are you looking into the next 1 month in sense of various asset classes?
Look, I think the trade talks, Donald Trump comes to a level, then he backs down. There are hard lines in the sand, but we don't seem to be getting any closer to a resolution. So I get a sense, let's see, and I think everyone's optimistic about it. But this has been something that's been looming across the markets for some time and has held up a lot of the markets anyway. So I get a sense that let's see what happens, but I'm not 100% conclusive that we'll get a finalised deal. As a result of that, I think it looms on, and that could put more pressure on a lot of the commodities.
Jonathan, since you watch various sectors across in commodities, what is your sense on what we've done in this year? The crude oil price is still positive, off its highs, yes. Gold and silver price is also positive, off its highs. But the base metal prices have continued to decline, and we might be closing this year negative for most of those metals. Going forward, for the remainder of the year, how would you want to hold your positions across sectors?
Well, I think if there's anything that Donald Trump could be said as actually having been done, it's that he's collected and made sure that a lot of our primary import prices have been relatively stable. When we look at oil, it's been in a stable range. Sure, copper's under pressure, but once again, we're not on yearly lows. So I get a sense that commodity prices have been range-bound for most of the year, but I'm quite optimistic coming into 2020. But yeah, certainly opportunities out there on some of these commodities. when we get a deal, particularly on the trade side.
Okay, all right, Jonathan, as well as Manisha, thanks very much for joining in and taking us through that conversation. We're going to take a break now with the news that the Nifty is comfortable at 12,020. But before that, we have a couple of companies in focus. NBCC is in focus after a new order, after they won a new order worth around 500 odd crores. The company CMD, Mr. Manisha Gupta, who joins in now to discuss this. Mr. Gupta, hi, welcome to the show. If you can just give us more details about this particular 500 crore order, how much will you make in terms of margins, and what is your visibility in terms of when execution would begin?
This is the work awarded by Ministry of Environment and Forest. The work pertains to National Museum of Natural History. The approximate cost of work is 500 crore, and our margins will be in the range of 7%. So it will take some time to prepare the drawings and start the work.
Mr. Gupta, good morning, Sir Prashant here. So for the last 2 quarters, if you take Q1 or you take Q2, execution has disappointed for a variety of things, and as a result of which revenues have sharply missed what brokers who cover your company have been expecting. Could you tell us what is the status now? The Nauroji Nagar project, which is key for growth, earnings growth revival, remains stuck in litigation. What is the plan at NBCC with regards to this and other projects?
There have been fast-track hearings in High Court regarding Nauroji Nagar project, and there have been 4 hearings in this month, and next hearing is due on 22nd of this month. So we hope to get the clearance soon.
So, do we know when is the final
another
date?
major factor for slow progress was...
go on, sir. Please finish that.
22nd is the next date of hearing.
22nd of this
and
this month.
Another major reason was that contribution of real estate sector in first 2 quarters was nil. But now we have opened the projects for sale. Our one flagship project in sector 89 Gurgaon residential that we opened up for sale in October, we have already sold 32 flats, and in another 4 to 6 months we hope to sell all the remaining flats, which is around 150.
Okay.
And this year's monsoon have been very heavy, so next focus is on execution, and we hope to see better days in the next coming quarters.
Mr. Gupta, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, which does track your company, estimates that around 47% of your order book, total order book, is stuck either in litigation or is, there is no work going on because of lack of approvals like environmental clearances, etc. That is 47% of your order book.
Yes, that position is there. It's correct. But we have sufficient order books of other projects also, and these projects also we hope to get clearance soon.
Okay. Well, what about your Amrapali group projects? They were expected to be completed in November. Has it been completed, and when are you going to realize revenues from this? Which quarter is it going to show in?
In Amrapali, we started 2 projects. The total cost of remaining works in these projects was around 7 crore only. These projects are going to be completed by November end or December first week. But recently, we have got the clearance from Supreme Court receiver to start 7 projects where 9,300 flats will be completed and delivered to home buyers. And total cost of these will be 700 crore. We are floating the tenders for these works and hope to start the works by January, mid of January.
What can you give us in terms of guidance, Mr. Kumar? Because, if you look at your last quarter gone by, it's been extremely weak. Your real estate segment reported a loss and your revenue was way below what the street was anticipating. When do you expect any sort of pickup in terms of numbers? What kind of guidance can you provide us in terms of numbers realizations, revenue margins for the second half?
And the margins in first half were specifically low because of income tax ordinance, due to which 113 crore of expense had to be booked. But in this quarter and next quarter, we hope to at least double the numbers of the first and second quarter.
So will you continue to make a loss, or are you going to be in the black on the bottom line?
No, we'll make the profits in this quarter and next quarter. No question of any more loss.
Okay, fair enough. So, just to go back to that main point, so these projects which are stuck, etc., are Nauroji Nagar, there is the Netaji Nagar project, and Netaji Nagar and Sarojini Nagar projects. This is, this is about
yes.
what? About 9,000 odd crores, right? Total. These two projects.
These three projects, all three total are 21,000.
Okay, beg your pardon. Yes, the Netaji Nagar project itself about 15,000 crores. So yeah, about 21,000. So what is? Could you give us some? Do you expect these to start moving by the in the next quarter, this financial year? Should we expect that? Should we be ready for more delays? Because there are genuine issues involved, right? Cutting of trees, pollution levels in Delhi, on which a fair bit of spotlight is. At a time like this, should we really expect that authorities would allow you to begin work?
It's difficult to give an exact date, but things are moving fast. We hope the clearances and may start the work in this year, but difficult to give any exact date.
Okay. Mr. Gupta, could you tell us what is, we know what has happened latest with Jayaprakash Infra resolution. So you and Suraksha Real Estate have put in your revised plans. This happened on the 17th of November. Can you talk to us when you expect to hear on that particular bit?
Committee of Creditors has already met once. And Supreme Court has given the timelines of 45 days for IRP to submit to NCLT, and another 45 days for NCLT to take a decision.
Okay.
So that date will be over. Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
That date will be over sometime in December.
In December.
45 days will be over in December, and another 45 days that will be over in January end.
Okay.
One other issue with this is
by that time we expect to get the result.
Yeah, you are so far you've been
yes,
a project management consultant broadly. I mean, your margins have been fixed, 8% gross margins, little use of significant amount of capital. If you do pick up some of these real estate assets, would you imagine that the business and the profile of the company undergoes a significant change? I mean, it will, right?
No, will still remain strong only in PMC, but real estate also is picking up, but our major business will still be in PMC.
Okay, Mr. Gupta, thank you very much. Appreciate you joining in and running us through what you make of things at NBCC. So that is the management with their thoughts on how they see things. I mean, the stock is down about 35-36% this year. So it's been a huge laggard over the last couple of years actually. I mean, the high was 140 or so, as far as I can see. That was November of 2017. That's 140, and the stock's now under 40 at 37. But that is markets for you. We will slip into a quick break here. We come back and we discuss market technicals at 11:30. Mitesh Thakkar is going to be joining in today to